Welcome to October's membership monthly video. Before I always start these, I always like to take a moment and say thank you so much for being a member. It helps me so much, you supporting our channel, and I really hope you're getting a lot of value out of this, so thank you. Before I start into this video, I'm just going to briefly go over just a couple things. So I'm starting to put this video in our membership, but as well as on YouTube as an unlisted video. So if you have the link, you can watch it and save that link and watch it over and over again after this month. I'm going to do that with the art projects as well, so you guys will always have that if you want to go back and check it out. Another thing I wanted to say is that always when I make these, I kind of curate a evening for you where you can make recipes from the monthly bundle. You can do the art projects as an activity, listen to the relaxing or fun music, and then, you know, even today we're making a healthy candy bar that could be dessert. And sometimes I also make recommendations, like for the art project, I have a really great documentary for adults, maybe not young children, about Egypt and a new tomb that they've discovered. So that's really kind of ties in with the art project in October. So technically I could have your Friday or Saturday evenings planned out for you, but it's meant to be a night where you have fun, you relax, and you can enjoy. So we're gonna jump into it. I was gonna film a Q&A for this month, but I decided to push that back to probably one of the winter months, and because it's October, that means Halloween candy probably is in your vision, especially here in the United States. So this is a delicious, healthy, nut-free candy bar. It's pretty much a Twix replica, because that was my favorite candy bar, and it's great when you want a little piece of chocolate or something a little sweet. You can make them into little strips of candy bar. You can make them as thick or even little cubes if you wanted to. It's really your personal preference. I do store mine in the freezer, so I'm not tempted to get at it a lot, but it is nice to just be able to pick a little piece off, especially if you make them a little bit smaller, like bite size. So we're going to use a loaf pan. I have a silicone loaf pan, which will make it really easy once they set to pop it out. If you have a regular loaf pan that's not silicone, you may want to line it with parchment paper just so it makes it easy to remove. As a heads up, we are going to freeze this. That's a no-bake recipe, which is awesome. But we are going to make 3 layers. So we're going to jump into it. The recipe is printable down below for you as well. Make sure you check that out. The weather here in Pittsburgh has started to tank, so I actually took one of my husband's sweatshirts I got from him. If anyone gets this TV show right, you can leave me a comment down below, but it's just really cold and dreary here, and so now I'm like ready for fall recipes. You can make the pumpkin roll for this month, or this great desserts. So it's 3 parts. We're gonna get with the cookie crust. It is 1 cup of oat flour, and this is rolled oats that I pulsed into a flour. This recipe is also gluten-free, which is awesome, so trying to check all my boxes. I do have a little bit of vanilla bean powder. Vanilla bean powder is a little bit pricey. It's a lot pricey. I do have a little container that I have it on our Amazon shop, but I do use it twice in this recipe. You can use vanilla extract if you want. This is around 1/2 teaspoons of vanilla bean powder, which is a lot, but it really packs a lot of flavor. So I think this recipe is worth splurging on for that. And then I also have 5 pitted dates. These are medjool dates, so they are much larger. I made sure to take all the pits out. That's going to help everything stick together. And then if you don't have dates, you could use a different kind of dried fruit as well. And then I have 1/4 cup of a non-dairy milk, unsweetened and unflavored. And we are going to blend till that's nice and crust-like. You should be able to pinch it. If yours is having trouble, you could add a teaspoon of non-dairy milk at a time until it's pinchable. You don't want the base to be like wet per se, but that it's just enough to kind of pull it all together. So I'll show you guys what I'm looking for in texture. I'm gonna go give this a blend. I'll see you guys in a second. Alright, so whenever it's all finished, you should be able to like pick it up. It should be kind of a kind of a doughy consistency is what you're looking for. It's not wet where it's like leaving anything to my hand, but I could roll it in a ball if I want. Another thing you could add here is if you have kids, or if you are not trying to be like weight loss focused, you could add walnuts to this. Raw walnuts is really nice as well, or any kind of nuts that you want. I left nuts out just because a lot of people have nut allergies or are sensitive, but sunflower seeds, walnuts, almonds, you definitely can make this more of a Snickers even and add something like that. But this is a good base. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take that out. It came out like beautifully. I actually didn't have to add anything extra for non-dairy milk. That was perfect. I did not soak my dates too. Sometimes I feel like that will make it a little bit too soft in a batter. Okay. And then because we used rolled oats as our flour, you don't actually have to cook this. If you wanted to use a different kind of flour, that would change. But since you can eat rolled oats raw, it's fine to eat oat flour raw as well, as a little bit of a tidbit. So now I'm going to just kind of use my hands, and you just want to make a thin layer, and that's why a loaf pan works perfect for this, because it's like the perfect amount. If you use something else, like I have a couple other glass shallow pans I thought about using, but loaf pans always work perfectly for it. You can also make this into more of like Reese cups, or even make little bite size and use little parchment lined like cupcake liners and make them individual. That's another fantastic idea. Sometimes we make, I should put out a recipe for the Reese's substitutes. Slightly different, but this one is so good. All right, so just take a moment. If you have kids or grandkids, get them involved in it. And I will show you guys what it looks like. I'm gonna take a picture on my phone because that's always a little bit easier than you seeing it on camera. But just try to get it as evenly as possible. It just takes a minute. Ta-da, we have our crust. How easy is that? I'm gonna wash my hands, take a picture of it, and we'll move to the next part. The next part, you need a blender. Next up for the blender, it's very similar. So we're gonna make a caramely sauce to go on top. So you're pretty much not adding in oat flour, you're not gonna add in the non-dairy milk. We're pretty much gonna make a date paste substitute, a little bit vanilla date paste to go as the caramely texture, which is perfect. So I have 1 cup of water. And then I have 5 large medjool dates that I've just pitted. And again, if you want to use something else, just make sure that you are doing the equivalent to medjool dates. All right, and then I have, again, half of a teaspoon of vanilla powder. I think it really adds a lot of flavor. You definitely could do a vanilla extract if you wanted to. And for this part, it's gonna be the caramel sauce. So you could definitely play around with this recipe. You could add cocoa powder. You could add, after it's blended, if you wanted to put in some crumbled up peanuts or walnuts or something like that for a little bit of texture, that's totally fine as well. You could make this a different filling. Instead of like date paste, you could make apricots and make this an apricot, candy if you want. You could do dried cherries. You could do whatever you'd like that would go well with chocolate is what you're gonna do. So I'm gonna do kind of classic here. Again, all of the measurements are down below. We're gonna pulse this until it makes kind of a date paste substitute, and we're gonna add it to the next layer. Super easy, like almost done. Another thing too that I've seen people do before is that you could add a raw walnut butter or raw almond butter or peanut butter if you want, and this would make it a different flavoring as well. We're gonna leave it out. If you do have kids that have a nut allergy, you could also use sunflower butter. I know people do that, but I generally, for this one, again, I want it to be more of a caramel sauce, so I'm gonna leave that out for it today, and we're just gonna stick with kind of the basic, but you guys can always tweak it and make it your own. That is so encouraged in all of my recipes. I show you how we like it, but you guys might have a different favorite, so make it how you like it. All right, I'm gonna go blend until it's smooth. Depending on how large your dates are, you could need one or two more, so just kind of eyeball it. Around 5 to 7 usually does it. Perfect for mid-jewel dates, but it should be kind of looking like maybe a slightly thinner than traditional date paste, but it should still be nice and thick. So I'll show you guys what it looks like. Should be blended nice and smooth so it looks like caramel, but you guys can see. Maybe just a little bit less thick than your traditional date paste that we usually make on the channel. But if you think it's too watery, you definitely can add an extra date or so. And again, play around with this. The apricot version of this is awesome, especially again around the holidays, or even cherries and chocolate go well together. And then you can play around with like what you want in here. Like I was saying, you could even slice up some fruit or add some freeze-dried fruit. You could add in, you know, something that you want to be nuts or seeds. I just kind of make them depending on who's going to eat them or what preference. These make fantastic gifts to bring to someone's house. If you told them you made like homemade chocolate bars. And it is so good. So go ahead and just kind of plop it on there and then use kind of a spatula and just try to, again, we're making even layers. Now I do like to let this part kind of set up. And mine is like perfect. There's a couple little pieces of dates in there, which actually will give it a lot of texture that didn't completely pulverize, which is great. Enough that they're small enough that that's awesome. I'm gonna let this sit in our freezer for maybe like an hour to two, and just so it kind of sets up, so when I add the chocolate, it's again, we're making these like really nice layers. So go ahead and pop this in the freezer. And then all you have to do for the last layer is we're just going to melt some chocolate. So super easy. You can use any chocolate that you want. I really prefer the unsweetened chocolate from Santa Barbara. They make an unsweetened chocolate chip, or these ones from Trader Joe's, which again, I will post a picture on the screen of this. But this is really affordable. It was like $2.99 for a packet, and you're just going to melt it. You know, you can do it on the stove, like double broil method, or you can do it in the microwave and just like take it out frequently and stir. You just want to make sure you don't burn it, but you do want to melt this down. You could also leave it off. So if you don't want to have caffeine from the chocolate, or you don't want to add the chocolate, like these are fantastic as is. You also could, you know, just melt a little bit and do like a drizzle if you don't want a lot, or you can do a complete chocolate layer, which we're going to do to show you guys today. It's really personal preference. Sometimes I know people have done even chocolate mixed with an almond butter or nut butter of their choice and made it kind of like a swirly topping. It's really yours. I do sometimes around Christmas add a little bit of mint extract and make it chocolate mint, almost like a peppermint patty you could do. So that's another combination to remember for down the road. And have fun with it. Like, these are so fun. It makes a lot of bars. You can cut these in as, you know, strips when they're all set, or again, little, sometimes I like to do just like little chunks. So I just grab like a little, just a tiny bit when I'm walking by and I want something sweet. It really just depends on what you're looking for, but family favorite for sure. All right, so I'm gonna put this guy in the freezer for an hour or two, let it set up, and then we will add our chocolate layer. But it's so many combinations. You guys are gonna love it. Okay, I'll see you guys whenever it's ready for the chocolate part. All right, so all I'm gonna do now is microwave the chocolate chips for around 30 seconds and stir it until it's nice and smooth, just like you would chocolate. I am using the Trader Joe's chocolate chips I posted about, but it's super easy. It's a cup, and then we will pour them on top of the rest of the bars, which are sitting up in the freezer. Really easy. I know you guys are gonna like this. Again, you can put some peppermint to this. It would be so good. And I'm sorry, I started my dishwasher, my dishwasher a while ago, but my dishwasher here at this current house takes forever. So I hope you guys can hear me okay, but this part's real quick. All right, it takes me around 60 seconds to 90 seconds. Again, I just kind of every 30 seconds pull it out and just give it a nice stir, but it becomes beautiful melted chocolate. Make sure there's no lumps. Just take a moment to really make sure it's nice and incorporated. And then, like I said, you can add in, you know, if you want to put chopped nuts or put dried fruit or anything on top, this is the time to add it now because it'll stick, but we're going to let this harden up as well. And then I will see you guys when the bars are done, ready to be cut. Okay, that looks pretty nice and velvety smooth. That's what I'm looking for. Awesome. Grab the bars. Okay, now because the date paste doesn't have any fat in it, it's not going to completely, like, you'll still be able to touch it and it would be soft, but you can see it's not moving around any, which is what we want. Then all I'm going to do is pour it on top. Try to get as evenly as possible. Again, you could not do this amount and just do a drizzle. That's really up to you. But then we're going to stick it back into the freezer and let it sit in there until it sets up and you see that the chocolate has hardened, and then you know the bars are done and ready to cut. So I'm just going to pour it on top. I will show you what it looks like on the screen now. 1 cup is the perfect amount if you want to cover your entire bars. Again, if you'd rather use less and drizzle it, that's fine. I do that all the time as well. And kind of play around for what you guys like. And think about all of the possibilities. Like, it is endless, which is my favorite thing about cooking and making recipes. Alright, this is going to go carefully back into the oven, carefully back into the freezer. Don't put this in your oven. This is a no-bake recipe. And you can even like tap it and let the chocolate move if you have any spots that you need to cover up. So sometimes I just take it and kind of let the chocolate move around. Alright, I'm going to let this set. I'll see you guys when we're going to cut it. But you guys are going to be so excited to try it. I know. If you're like me and you're impatient, you can dig into this as soon as it has set. It is better to leave on overnight. Also, if you used parchment paper, it'll be even easier to cut these, but it turns out into these delicious bars. Oh my gosh, you guys are gonna love this. I've already been just snacking on it. If I let it sit a little bit longer, it wouldn't be such a mess, but this might be better than a Twix bar. I love the combination of that crust with the ooey gooiness of the caramel, a little bit of that chocolate topping. And you can cut these into as big or little pieces as you want. Again, I recommend using parchment paper. If you're going to use silicone, you definitely want to let it sit for a while. You can cut them up into little pieces and store them in the freezer so you have it. So good. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thank you guys so much for being a member. I will see you in November for the next monthly video. Have a great month. See you guys. Bye. Hope you make these. Make sure you let us know how you like it.